Hey guys, welcome back to Fix It Friday. This week I have Kyle with me and we are going to be going over cervical posture. So if you've kind of had that lingering, nagging pain in the neck, we're going to talk about why that might be happening today. It could potentially be that your posture and your cervical spine is not where it should be. So just a real quick overview of anatomy, the curvature of the spine. In the cervical spine, we're looking for a lordosis. So on Kyle, what that would look like is it almost has a curve forward coming towards you, okay? Reasons for poor posture, for most people, it's going to end up being that they sit at work all day or they're in their car for multiple hours during the day driving to and from work. Also their ergonomics, or kind of like their setup, their environment at work. A lot of people have the computer screen lower down. So again, that's just going to put you into flexion immediately, and that's going to put a lot of stress on your cervical spine. Their mouse could potentially be too far away, and there's just so many possibilities that could lead to someone being in poor posture. So when we talk about our cervical posture and setting up how we're going to start beginning and creating a good posture, we want to start from our base, our core and our trunk. So if you look back at some of the previous Fix It Fridays with Matt, there are two in particular. The first is going to be core and the transverse abdominis video, and the shoulders, and in particular with that video he talks about the mid trap. I would recommend taking a peek back at those videos, and he will go over how to create a stable base with those two places. Moving on to what correct posture is supposed to look like, we're going to start with a view from the front. So we're going to look specifically at Kyle's clavicle here. So we're going to find the sternoclavicular joint, so his sternum and his clavicle, and then his acromioclavicular, so his acromion and the clavicle. And what we would look for is a slight increase or angle in that line right here, okay, and an angle going up. So he does have a slight angle there. He's actually a little flatter than we might want him to be. Ideally, what we want to see is something more a little like this, okay? So if we come around to the side, what we want to see is that his ear, the external region of his ear, is right over top of his acromion process, or the lateral portion of his shoulder, and Kyle's is actually pretty good there. I'm going to have Kyle actually just really quick do a kind of slouch forward for me so we can see what poor posture. So if his head would slide forward, you can see how his ear is not over top here. So you can see how this is not in a straight line. And then go ahead and sit back up to a correct posture. So that's what we want. We want those 2 points to line up just like that. Okay? So we're going to move on to fixes, how to fix poor cervical posture. Again, I said reference those videos with Matt for the transverse abdominis and the mid-trap squeezes. Those are going to help you create a nice stable base for correct cervical posture. We want to avoid stretching the upper trap. I know it's really tempting to kind of sit there and stretch your upper trap because it feels good. However, if we overstretch that trap, it's not going to hold the cervical spine back where it should be just based on where it attaches. So we're going to go over three actually fixes really quick. So the first is pec stretch. We're going to head over here to the rig, and I'm going to have Kyle demonstrate a pec stretch for us. And this can be done in a doorway or any place where you can kind of spread your hands apart a little bit. So all he's going to do is he's going to start with his feet in a split position, and he's just going to kind of lunge into that front leg. So Kyle can feel free to mess around with the positioning of where his hands are. If he feels like he gets more of a stretch coming up higher, he can do that. He can also come lower like this and do that position as well. This would be good if you're someone who sits all day like this at work. The next exercise that we're going to do is shoulder boxes. So Kyle, I'm actually going to have you sit here again on the table for me. Shoulder boxes. Ideally, what we want is to break it down into 3 movements. We want a up component, we want a back component, and then we want a down. So that's going to set our scapulas in the position that we need for proper cervical posture. The last exercise, and probably the hardest, is going to be cervical retractions. So with this, what I'm going to have Kyle think about doing is sliding his head back into my hand. Now, if you notice, the first thing that Kyle did, relax for a second, was he wanted to tuck his chin down like that. I want him to think about going straight back, just like that. Okay? You can also do this laying down on a table and have a not a table, a bed or a couch, have a pillow behind your head and just push your head straight back into the pillow. Again, thanks for watching, guys. Check out the rest of our Fix It Friday videos on our YouTube channel and also check out our website. Have a good week.